Hey guys, and welcome to Trash with a capital T, where we give trashy books and movies all the love they deserve, and some deserve more than others. So today we are going to be talking about something very special to me because we are going to be talking about a movie novelization. That's what the phrase is. And I actually collect these, so I don't necessarily read them all because not all of the ones I get are in great shape. But the company, what is this? Encyclopocalypse has been doing movie novelizations for movies that have already been out for a while. So they worked with different companies, in this case, Shout Factory, to do a movie novelization of Chopping Mall. And if you have not seen Chopping Mall, it is quite a wonderful B movie, and I really wanted to see what they would do in novelization form. Now, before we get into this one proper, I'm not going to go into my collection, mainly because I don't want to pull it off the shelf, because I got a bunch. And some of them are actually not in the greatest shape. I was actually considering reading another one that I have. I got the movie novelization for The Devil and Miss Jones, and for those who know what that film is, you know what it is. It's a popular adult film from the 70s. But that book is in such bad shape that, like, just trying to read it, I was like, I'm going to break this thing. And so I some of them I know I'm not going to read. Some of them I actually really do want to read. Encyclopocalypse just released novelizations for two Andy Sedaris movies. And he is definitely going to come up on the channel at some point. So I have those. There's a novelization from Adam Cesare, who wrote Clown of Cornfield. He did a novelization for the new Toxic Avenger. I got a whole host of them. And there's something I really love. They really don't have a purpose now outside of just being collectible. But movie novelizations used to be around because before VHS, and even after VHS, when VHS was not super common, there was no way to re-watch or re-experience a movie. So they would do the novelizations so that if you wanted to re-experience the film, you had the book. You could go back, and the book usually had, I'll show you because they do it in this, they usually had photos from the, like, stills from the film in there. And one of the interesting things is these novelizations were written as the movie was going into production. So they were ready to go when the movie was released. So sometimes novelizations would have different versions of the script to work off of, like earlier versions. So novelizations would sometimes have different scenes or dialogue in them. So you would kind of get a different experience than just watching the movie. And also, in some cases, you would also get a more detailed experience because these are novels. Now, most of the time, these are short, but they are novels, so you're allowed to get in the heads of the characters a little more. So they can expand on things a little bit. I mean, I've never read a novelization that goes wildly off into its own world. I know there's a couple that do that. I have, and I haven't read it yet. I have the novelization for Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and that one does take a lot of liberties because it adds in this whole element of the author becoming a character in the story, which I think sounds really cool. But we're not here for all of those today. We're specifically here for the novelization of Chopping Mall by Joshua Millican. Now, there is a little bit of, I don't know if it's controversy, but there's a little craziness around this book. There is actually two versions of this book. Sorry, I'm pulling up the other author's name while I'm doing this because I forgot to pull it up. So this book was originally published by a different author, Brian G. Barry. It's a completely different book. He wrote a different book. That book got released, and from what sounds like a lot of complex reasons that I'm not going to get into because I don't know all the details, that book got pulled from shelves. And the book was then re-released, and that's the one I have, which is the one by Joshua Millican. And it sounds like they include a lot of the same extra material, but the beginning and end are different. This one involves some interesting little side tidbits that that one apparently does not. But that book did actually have a release, so I think there are a few versions out there. I know there are some ARC copies out there. That is not the version I read. I can't comment on it, and I'm not going to comment on why the book got pulled because like I said, I don't know all the details. And the details I did find, I couldn't verify, so I don't want to go out there and start spreading a bunch of crap about someone and not actually know the full story. If you guys know the full story, drop it in the comments. But yeah, I don't want to potentially smear someone's name and not have all the facts. So, okay. So let's get into this. This does basically follow the plot of the film. The general gist is a mall, this like super great mall. I think it's supposed to be like the Galleria or something like that in LA. Installs new security robots. It has this whole security system, and the enforcers are these robots. And let me see if I can find a picture of said robots. They have to have them in the back of the book. But these things, the origin of them changes depending on like what the story is. Here, make sure there's not anything else offensive on this page, because some of these do show screen. That's what they look like. They're these little. The original title of the movie was Killbots, and those are the Killbots. So they are the new security system in the mall, and the employees are supposed to have badges so that if they encounter one, they can scan their badge and not be harmed if they're there after hours. But otherwise, they're there to like electrocute thieves. I don't know. Seems a little overkill for mall security. But while this is all going on, a bunch of teenagers played by 30-year-olds who I love. Actually, they're probably in their 20s. But it's Kelly Mulroney, Barbara Crampton. Oh my God. It's a B-movie smorgasbord as far as the cast goes. You have Dick Miller has a cameo. Paul Bartel, who I'm slowly aging into. He and Mary Warnoff have cameos as their characters from Eating Raoul. That's all in the movie. And in the book, too, actually. The Blands are characters in this. And like I said, it follows pretty closely. But the kids they're going to party and they're going to stay in this one store. It's like the furniture store. And they're going to have a wild night or whatever. And that all gets disrupted because something lightning strikes the mall and sets these robots into kill mode. And they don't go easy on people. And then craziness ensues. And it's kids versus robots. And it sounds very silly because it is very silly. It's a B movie. It was directed by Jim Wynorski. I actually think he did a great job directing this movie. There are some... Oh, sorry, my throat got really dry. There are some really cool effect shots in the movie. Now, the original movie, outside of one great scene where a laser hits someone in the head and their head goes... is not actually exceptionally gory. The book, on the other hand, does actually, because it doesn't have the restriction of rating or budget, does push the gore a lot harder, and it works. It makes some of the scenes quite nasty. As you can see, this book is quite short. I think it clocks in. I actually listened to the audiobook. It clocks in 145 pages. And the audiobook was only like 3 hours long. I would not recommend the audiobook. The narrator he's not bad. I listen to books at like 1.25 speed, and he does a lot of character voices, but he also does sound effects. So one of the characters, I want to say it's Mike. He chews gum. He does it in the movie. He does it in the book. He's chewing gum constantly. And the narrator for the audiobook is making a smacking sound every time Mike speaks. And it drove me nuts. Yeah. But overall, I think the narrator did good. He was trying to make it more animated and in character to it. The problem is, when you're doing something in audio, you don't want to do like a smack sound into the microphone repeatedly. It's quite gross. And some of the line readings were a little weird. But the dialogue on this, I don't think all the dialogue in this made it into the film, because the dialogue in this is quite cheesy. This book is quite cheesy. It reads, the best thing I could compare it to is it reads like a 90s YA book, with some harsher language and maybe a little more violence, although some of those books got pretty gory. Yeah, I mean, it reads pretty well. Did I love this? I thought it was fine. Did I love it more than the movie? I actually think this does something that it helps the plot in a way the movie kind of suffers. The last half of the movie is quite slow. The pacing drops considerably. The book does not have that problem. The book kind of pushes through the main action points pretty quickly. Not to the point of feeling rushed, but to the point of like it keeps the pace up. We don't have a lot of wandering. We don't have any padding. It also fills out a few areas, and there's a few little side stories that kind of get added in that add a little more character to the book. We get a few more scenes with the Blands, who we mentioned in the movie are played by Paul Bartel and Mary Warnoff. Those characters get a little extra moment. There's this whole thing about like the mall mole, who's like this creature that apparently lives in the mall, and you get a whole side story with that. And the scenes with like Dick Miller's character, this janitor, you get a lot more detail with him. So it does flesh some stuff out. So we're not rushed, but the action moves much faster. And I appreciated that because we don't have to pad for time. They are not trying to get an hour and 80-minute, hour 90-minute run time to make a theatrical release. They're just worried about making sure this book gets all the important stuff in there and gets it told well. And I think that part actually works really well. It does capture the spirit of the film very well. It ups, like I said, the gore count a lot, but it doesn't make any major changes. There are a few little twists in the prologue and in the epilogue to add in a few more details with the story. I'm not going to give those away because I actually would say give this book a try. It's short enough, and you can get it for a decent price. I have the mass market size one that you can get through Encyclopocalypse's website. The other version is like the standard print on demand paperback size where it's a little taller and wider. And I think it has different cover art. That's part of the reason I wanted to get this, because this has the original movie cover art or VHS cover art, which I remember seeing in the video store when I was a kid. I mean, that is some great cover art. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think it's fun. And I mean, it's a cool... I like the concept of what Encyclopocalypse is doing, where they are taking movies that never got novelizations and they're going back and giving them novelizations. They just did some... I don't know if it's out yet. It'll probably be out by the time this video is out. They did one for Sleepaway Camp. They did one for Wishmaster. They have republished older ones. They republished the novelization for Fright Night, which I've actually heard is quite good. Like I mentioned, they did the novelizations for the two Andy Sedaris movies. They did Malibu Express and Hard Ticket to Hawaii, which those are over-the-top B-movie action films that have to kind of be seen to be believed, and I highly recommend watching them. And I can't wait to check out the books. I actually am already starting Hard Ticket to Hawaii. If I finish it, I'll probably do a video about it. But they are kind of jumping in there and giving some of these movies that never got the novelization treatment some love. And it gives fans of these movies another kind of cool piece of merch to get a hold of. All right, so I'm going to put that down. And yeah, and I'm probably going to try and get more movie novelization reviews up here to just tell you if they're worth it. Because a lot of newer movies have been doing this. The Halloween trilogy, the most recent one that was done, all three of those got novelizations, which of course I bought. They also have audiobooks for those. The Resident Evil movies have them. There used to be a company. I just love media tie-in novels as well. I have some really bizarre ones that I kind of love. I have Baywatch ones that were kids' books. So this is like Baywatch Junior Lifeguards with Hobie as the lead. And Terrifier 2 has a novelization. I'm not sure how that one works out. And I think I'm going to have to give that one a try because I liked the second Terrifier movie. I liked 2 and 3. I did not like 1. But it doesn't strike me as something that would translate really well to book form. But we'll see. I know some people really enjoyed it. So... okay, I'm going to get this review wrapped up right here. So, general housekeeping. New episodes released every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Sometimes if I do a special like release I know I've done one already this month before my Manuel video. Those will usually fall in Wednesday, but they're not guaranteed every week. That probably might just be once a month, or if I have to make a special announcement. All right. And if you like the video and you like, what we're doing over here, or what I'm doing since it's a one-man show, give me a like and subscribe. Those really do help push the algorithm to get more people to see my videos. And, love what you love, enjoy what you're reading and watching, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, or night. And I will see you guys in the next one.